Well, it is an exciting day, not just because it is April Fool's, and this is not a joke. MLB's opening day takes part this Thursday, April 1st here. Joining me today to break this down is Eric Bay. Eric, exciting time. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, you're right. An exciting time and looks to be a great season from Canada's team.
For sure. We got lots of Toronto Blue Jays. They seem to be getting things going here. They're playing the New York Yankees in their opening weekend series. Eric, your team, another AL East team, the Boston Red Sox, are hoping to be going throughout this weekend against the Baltimore Orioles. Today, we are deciding to give some of our picks for the stretch. I know it's pretty early here, but we are deciding who we think is going to win each division throughout the American League and National League, as well as giving our World Series picks. So, Eric, we got a lot to talk about. Let's get after it. You want to start things off here with the American League East, the powerhouses in my mind of the American League.
Yeah, no, obviously the traditional bloods, of the MLB, and I think the Yankees should take this one again. I'm not convinced about their abilities in a playoff series. We've seen their deficiencies before, but over an entire 162 game season, you just look at this lineup. They have everything you want from a hitter's perspective, tons of power, and they have the big name pitchers like Garrett Cole to back it up. But for the Blue Jays, this looks to be a great season, and I think they should snag that second place in the division because their lineup too is looking pretty fearsome all throughout the lineup 1 through 9.
Yeah, Eric, when a team, when one of their weakest points is trying to play small ball, it's one of the best teams in the MLB, let alone in their own division. And as well, like you, I have the Toronto Blue Jays finishing second there, hopefully vying for a wild card spot and still making it into playoffs. For the National League, starting off in the National League East, I think I'm going to go with the Atlanta Braves. We saw how good they were doing last year. Freddie Freeman's coming off an MVP season, and they really keep a lot of the same pieces that they did have from that last year's team that did lose in the playoffs to the eventual World Series champions, the LA Dodgers. They have a lot of those pieces still. Plus, they'll have Soroka back, who was injured. I believe it was the opening weekend of the MLB last season that he got injured, a knee injury there. So they'll have their ace back on the mound. If all those pieces can continue to perform like they did last season, I don't see why there's a reason they shouldn't win this division.
Yeah, a very talented division, tons of big teams in there, but I think maybe the most talented division and maybe the most interesting playoff race will be the AL Central. And you look at those teams at the top where they were last year between the Minnesota Twins, the Chicago White Sox, and the Cleveland Indians. And I just think that the Indians might take a step back. They lost a few pieces, but I think the Minnesota Twins, they added on to their roster and they kept their big names like Nelson Cruz. Kenta Maeda is a Cy Young candidate, and I still think they'll have enough to hold off the White Sox during the regular season, but don't sleep on the White Sox because they made some big additions too. And guys like Dallas Keuchel, Lucas Giolito in that rotation are going to be amazing throughout a full 162 game season.
Yeah, that Twins offense is another one that's hard to compete with, similar to the Yankees. They can just absolutely mash balls game in, game out. But like you said, the White Sox, another team that are right in the hunt there. Going to the NL Central here, I'm going with the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, they've been a great team year in, year out for the last decade plus there. And they added arguably the best third baseman in the game of baseball in Nolan Arenado over this offseason. It'll be interesting to see if Arenado can still produce offensively like he did in Colorado. Obviously, that ballpark is a hitter's ballpark. So just making that shift. If all goes well, then this team should be on top of the NL Central.
Yeah, some big names moving to the NL Central, but the AL West saw some big names leave in the form of George Springer with the Astros. I think that really hurts this team, and I like the Oakland A's. I mean, you look at this team top to bottom, they lost some names too. Marcus Semien left. They traded Chris Davis for Elvis Andrus. Liam Hendricks is now gone to the White Sox, but this team finds a way to do it year in, year out with teams that maybe don't look as impressive on paper, and they won last year, so I don't see why they can't do it again, especially with the Astros losing a guy like Springer and maybe taking a bit of a step back, although that lineup too is still pretty lethal, and it should be a tight race there at the top of that division.
Yeah, this one to me, it's a tight race, but maybe not for the best reasons. Like you said, a number of teams lost some huge pieces there. For the Athletics, Eric, I know you like a handful of guys. The trio, I believe, of Matts on that team, you think will really power them through this season, hey?
Yeah, I mean, Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, those are the two big names to look at, right? And they've done it all offensively, defensively, and should still really carry this lineup.
Now, the final team here in the NL West, Eric, I hate to do it, but I got to choose another powerhouse of the MLB, the reigning World Series champions, the LA Dodgers. I mean, they didn't lose a piece. They just got better adding Trevor Bauer. I mean, how can't you take them to not only win their division, Eric, but I think they will win the entire MLB, the World Series there. It will be close. Obviously the San Diego Padres did get better over the offseason, adding a number of different pieces, including pitching there. I just don't think it's enough to beat this powerhouse.
Yeah, it is tough to pick against the Dodgers for a World Series championship, but you look at the past few years, couldn't get over the hump, and it's so hard to repeat. So I'm taking the Atlanta Braves. You mentioned it off the top. They're a deep team, and we're one blown 3-1 series lead away from being in the World Series and potentially winning over the Dodgers. So I like their lineup. They still have all the big pieces. They got back Marcell Ozuna, added Charlie Morton to that rotation. So I'm picking the Braves this year.
Well, Eric, I know it's just day one of the MLB season, but there's tons to look forward to, and it should be an exciting one as we get down the stretch here.